Stop beating yourself up over that.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Yeah. Aren't you a pastor? Just saying. We'll call him a philanthropath. It's a psychopath disguised as a philanthropist.
Unfortunately, some members of the community platforms push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Because that's how the mind works.
And some of the trees actually still have their leaves.
I used to ride my motorcycle throughout, Healdsburg and Santa Rosa after the fires hit, and I was like, this is not natural.
The perception of truth. Podcast.
I'm Vernon Roach.
And I'm Julianne Bryson.
And this is Perception of Truth Podcast. Yeah, so psyops of the world.
Which one? I mean, there's like multiples happening at the same time.
Yeah. I've just, I think a lot of the people don't even understand probably on the level of what a psyop really is.
Yeah.
I've obviously learned it through being somebody that tries to follow a lot of conspiracy style stuff that most folks, what was the word that you taught me the other day? It was
which one? Philanthropath or
no, that's a good one.
Esoteric.
Esoteric.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very esoteric.
Yes.
But the conspiracy side of it, but just the psyops, the level of indoctrination and manipulation that happens, through programming.
Yeah.
One of the things that fascinates me more than anything, and you and I've talked about it, is like even Charles Manson.
Yeah.
And what he went through.
You mean MK Ultra mind control?
That's exactly what I mean. That's right.
Yeah, I don't know when it was created, but I know that the Nazis had a lot to do with it. And then the Nazis that were brought here after the war, all those like psychopath scientists that were, kidnapping people and like figuring out how to do MK Ultra mind control. And, boy, I think they can do it on individuals and they can also do it on large groups of people. And I think we've all been subjected to it, whether we want to admit that or not,
Oh yeah.
It's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have people that are in it and they're totally dissociated from reality, but they think that they're actually steeped in reality, then that's like that cognitive dissonance thing that goes on. It's like they know our psychology. So if you know how to manipulate someone's psychology, then you just have all the power that you need to move society in the direction you want to. And that's what our government's been doing. Not just our government. I'm thinking probably all the governments do it. It's not just the U.S. It's just a deep state thing, and the deep state is also not just in the U.S. It seems to be a worldwide network of those 1%ers at the top that are holding the puppet strings up here, and they're just like laughing the whole time they're putting on this puppet show for us.
Wow. Yeah. That's so true. That's so, and it's the world stage, it's the world stage, and growing up in the 80s, the programming was completely different, like the food pyramid, and all these things that we know now, were hoaxes really, and just to keep you, so you would have to depend on the people that were behind the food pyramid,
right,
to
exactly.
take care of you, So after you amassed all of these health problems from eating the food pyramid,
Yeah, and then the pharma companies are all tied in with the food companies. A lot of them are owned by the same conglomerates, right? So then you got like, okay, well, what's the best way to avoid getting diabetes? Don't go to the Diabetes Association website and follow their advice, because everything they tell you to do is the exact opposite.
Oh yeah.
So you got these associations that have been around for like 100 years, and they're just, the whole thing is built on a big pack of lies.
That's right. Unfortunately, that is the truth. But and it's different from the 80s. The programming, how they can reach us now through social media and everything else. I mean, it's gotten to the point with technology where I can just be talking to you about the food pyramid, and then if I go off camera over here and pull my phone up and start scrolling, it's going to start giving me information about the food pyramid, and it may be telling me what I think is a hoax and that the food pyramid still works, and
that's a psychological operation right there. So remember back in the 80s and the 90s, I think this is when it started, was they went on this whole fat's not good for you. Everything needs to be low fat. Well, if you don't have fat, then your brain doesn't work properly. That's so right. Here we are. We're being manipulated mentally by this so-called healthy diet that they're telling people to live by, and it's actually like killing their brain function.
Yeah.
So, man, they're coming at us from every angle. You just gotta have on the armor of God with every moment of every day if you want to be protected, and then you get the discernment, then you'll be able to tell when you're being lied to about something. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's because I've had my eyes on the big pharma for 40 years now, and I've always known that it was an evil, evil empire, and I've never believed a word of anything. So I feel like that put me at an advantage to be having the discernment that you need these days. But then I was like blind to all the other parts of this whole New World Order agenda. I didn't quite put all the pieces together until COVID happened. And then I was like, oh, I see how all these things are related to each other and how it's all part of this big evil agenda that, these globalists are trying to roll out. And then we were talking about the big psychological operation behind Trump and how confusing his actions are and how it's hard to really interpret what he's about and what he's not about. I hear people say all the time, like, he's so two-faced and all this kind of stuff. And I just think he's up against an incredible enemy. And in this term, I think he's successfully taking them out, but it's like an operation that the public doesn't know all the details. We're not meant to know all the details. And so a lot of the news stream that comes out is actually meant to trick these deep state operatives. And I think there's a lot of that going on. That's why we won't ever know the whole truth to this, I don't think, because there's too many things about it that are highly classified, and they have to, how many times have you seen Trump act like he's dumb, like he doesn't know something?
Oh, yeah.
But he's got something else going on, like that whole Tylenol thing. I was like, okay, so we're going to have a meeting about how bad vaccines are. We're going to expose how bad they are, but we're going to focus more on Tylenol while we do this. I mean, and I'm glad that he did focus on Tylenol, because a lot of people don't realize Tylenol is like the ignition to the vaccine injuries. When your kid has a vaccine and then starts to have a bad reaction, and then the doctor tells you to give your kid Tylenol, and that just literally makes it even worse. Well, I was glad that he was highlighting that, but I felt like there was something behind that. Why is he focused so much on Tylenol? Why is he not focusing on the vaccines? And you just never know what's going on behind the scene there, and what psychological operation we're getting from even the Trump administration, because they can't really expose everything they're doing, because they're taking down the deep state. They're taking down this evil, evil empire that's been around for decades and decades. So yeah, I just go back to I don't trust any politician at the end of the day.
Oh my goodness.
But there's some that I do trust more than others, and there's some that I feel have Americans' best interests at heart, and then there's some that clearly are happy to sell us down the road to China or wherever. They're okay with selling out America to usher in the one world government, because they're one world government puppets, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now that actually makes plenty of sense. And I've been following Trump since the Home Alone and Apprentice days, all the way through that. So I didn't, as a kid, that's when I first started noticing the name Donald Trump. Yeah. And then the Oprah interview, that's so resonating even now. With him saying the only way I would ever be president is if the country got bad enough and needed me, and then I would do it.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not, but I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, you know, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined, I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. And I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing: this country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage. It wouldn't be the way it's been, believe me.
And there's been so many people that have became presidents that were actors,
Yeah.
were TV people,
Yeah.
all of this, and it all goes back to what you and I always attribute you to all of the stuff pre-COVID that we started going down the rabbit holes on, but
Yeah.
You know, just the level of indoctrination that came from that and came from those eras that's still reverberating today is paramount to everything that we talk about on this podcast.
Yeah.
And going down these rabbit holes, you know, like for Donald Trump, it's like now it's more relevant than ever, because look at everything he's been through as a president twice now in our country, you know, and all of the stuff. So I always believe in this, and this is where I was going with all of this, is I believe that there shouldn't be anything hidden from the public. And I believe that it's our money that's financing every bit of this as a country. And I believe that we have the right to not be in the dark, you know, and I strongly believe that. And I think that any establishment, you have to have some sort of belief, especially if you're faith driven, that God can drive that ship the way it needs to be driven, you know, and that's where I put it. I put it there because back in those time frames of the Home Alone and Oprah interview, you know, it was for me, it was, you know, you trusted everything that you saw in the programming, you know what I mean? And now I know as an adult, you can't trust any of it because there's a narrative behind everything today.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I think many people believe that there should be this separation of church and state, but I think they might be overlooking the fact that God is not in our government. And when God's not in our government, then that means the enemy's in the government. Satan is controlling the government, you know? So, I mean, whether you believe in God or not, the reality is the forefathers of this country set it up. It was a very faith-based, you know, when they created all of the founding documents, it was all based on faith and God and having God in the government. And then later on was this separation of church and state. And I think that's when the enemy came in and infiltrated, and then infiltrated all these other systems too, education, media, and, you know, all the 7 mountains of influence have been influenced by Satan now. And I don't know. I think we need God back in our government because God is the God of justice.
Amen to that.
Satan is the father of lies, you know.
That's
and
right.
if we want transparency from our politicians, we have to actually get to a point where they can be transparent with us. Because right now you have such a spiritual battle happening on the world stage, and all these politicians are either on the good side or the bad side, right? And I actually think a lot of them that we think are on the good side are actually on the bad side, and vice versa. I think there's even politicians that are playing the bad guy, which is like this controlled opposition thing that they do when they're actually the good guy, you know, because they have to infiltrate each other to take each other out, right? Yeah. So the deep state's been infiltrating politics for the longest. I think that's why 95% of these politicians in the U.S. are actually compromised, right? Because they've probably been under control of the Mossad and Epstein, you know, blackmail tapes and all this kind of stuff. I mean, look at how many politicians are compromised, right? So, and I mean, Trump might even be, compromised in that way for all we know. I mean, we just don't know. So I'd love to get to that point too, where we have full transparency, but I think we have to get past this like spiritual battle first. And then maybe we'll get to a point where there is, also incidentally, I think eventually we aren't going to be voting the same way. I think we're going to be voting on policy, not on politicians, because that's part of the whole new system that's supposed to be coming out, but that's another podcast conversation.
Man, that's impressive. Yeah. That'd be great. That'd be great. Cause I think that's what the marketing is behind all the politicians when they run is what do they, support and what do they not support, and it's like, when I was in elementary school, we had prayer. Mm-hmm. And especially at big functions. Yeah. Like if we were all in the gym before a game, there would be prayer. We said the Pledge of Allegiance every day.
Every day.
And that's how we started the school day.
Yeah.
And I really yearn for those times because there was more logic in the world. There was more, hey, don't talk about politics or religion, especially at a family event, or you kind of kept those things private in a lot of ways back then because it was meant to be that way because we didn't want those things to get in between relationships and friendships, and that's what struck me more than anything this past year was when Trump got elected. You saw this barrage of stuff in the media about family members, you're not coming to Thanksgiving this year and Christmas because you voted for Donald Trump. Please. Goodness. You know what I mean? Let's get back to some.
I've been kicked out of relatives' homes just for trying to have a conversation about it. It's so ridiculous, but yeah.
Introducing Treatable's new CBD crumble, great as a topper for your cat or dog's food. Use it on their wet food or their raw food. Each teaspoon packs 10 milligrams of CBD, and the pouch comes with a 30-day supply if you give your pet 2 doses per day. Of course, CBD is very safe, and you can give as needed. There's no side effects. Enjoy!
So have you noticed that some of these schools like allow satanic like clubs after school, but they won't allow kids to pray in school? It's like, wow. Okay.
I have noticed.
Or they have like drag queens like, reading story time, like totally inappropriate stuff and like doing their like little sexy things for their kid audience, but they don't allow prayer in school. It's like, what is going on here? That is...
Yeah, it goes right back to logic. Like, I mean, that don't make sense to me, and maybe I'm just, not of that culture, but whatever. I don't care what culture you are, hurting a kid or certain things should not be subjected to children.
Yeah.
It was Andy Griffith, actually, on the Andy Griffith show that he was talking to a guy. Well, why don't you just this one guy was like, well, why don't you just let the little feller do what he wants? And Andy Griffith was like, well, you can't do that because when they're little, they're like a raccoon. They'll grab at the shiniest object there and they'll hold on to it no matter what, even if their hand gets caught in a trap. Mm-hmm. And that's why.
Yeah.
Good
analogy.
Leave it up to Andy Griffith, right? So it's just, let's have some sense, Yeah. I don't, and that's the other thing. Like, there's a lot of, I'm a man of faith, but I'm going to protect my family, and I don't, especially my children. Mm-hmm. If you ever want to see that side of me, go at my children and watch what happens.
Right.
And I think that the rest of America should feel the same way.
I mean, I don't remember growing up and there being like a satanic after school club. Like if that would have happened back in the day when I was in school, people would have been like, what is this about? But it's like totally accepted now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw a post, this drag queen was like, why would anybody want us to come read books to their children?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I agree with this drag queen. Listen, I have no idea why you want drag queens to read books to your children. I have no idea. What in the hell has a drag queen ever done to make you have so much respect for them and admire them so much? Other than put on makeup and jump on the floor and writhe around and do sexual things on stage. I have absolutely no idea why you would want that to influence your child. Would you want a stripper or a porn star to influence your child? It makes no sense at all. A drag queen performs in a nightclub for adults.
Thank you. This is what I've been saying. This is what the alphabet community does not want you to hear from the mouth of a drag queen. Why do you want them to influence your kids?
See, and I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that. And there are people out here, that deserve that kind of respect, I can be supportive of that all day long. That's logic. That's somebody with a heart.
Yeah.
That cares for children. It's like I do a lot of adult things.
Yeah.
Now, do I go and tell the kids, hey, this is good for you? No, because let's be honest, as adults, we do things that aren't good for us.
Yeah. And it's like, why is it okay for a drag queen to twerk in front of kids? Would you like a woman who's a stripper to come in and put a pole up in your kid's classroom and show them how to pole dance? Like, it's the same thing, but somehow it's okay if a drag queen does that, but not a straight woman who's a stripper. Well, because we all know that's crazy and that's not appropriate for kids.
Yeah.
And then it turns into, well, that's not fair, to these people.
Yeah. Now, I'd have been very happy as a young man at my elementary school if they let a stripper come and do all that. I'd be like, man, can I get after school credit? Is this, are we going to take this to the gym? You know what I'm saying? Like, when is this coming back? When is this program coming back? Growing up in the era of weird science, when Kelly LeBrock, yeah, bring it on. No, but that's a great point. Is the double standards of everything,
And you get all these people that are upset about banned books, and I'm like, have you seen what kind of books they're banning? It's not like great literature from history. These are books about teaching little boys how to give blowjobs to a grown man. I mean, I've seen some of these books that are banned, and they're like totally pornographic, very... I wouldn't want my kid reading that. Well, I wouldn't want my kid anywhere near that until they're an adult. But those are the books that are being banned. And then you've got all these people that are upset because they're banning books. Have you looked at the books they're banning?
Oh, man. I'm a grown man, and you just, in that sentence raised my blood pressure up, So I can't imagine that. Why, what in the world, what realm?
Or they're talking about, other types of intercourse that are totally natural. It's like, I don't think kids need to know this right now. No. I'm pretty sure that can wait.
Yes. Yeah. Look, they had sex education in high school, but that's an age of where you kind of understand what's going on, and they did it to prevent, to educate kids on teenagers, not children. Teenagers on venereal disease, early pregnancy, because teen pregnancy in this country was just through the roof.
Yeah.
That
makes sense to me.
It's logical.
But now they teach pronouns and all the different genders that there are and all this crazy woke stuff. It's not really sex ed anymore. It's like sex indoctrination, you know?
Yeah. I do well to remember birthdays. So what orientation that you want me to, talk to you in, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to have the bandwidth to be able to do that. And it's not out of disrespect or anything, it's just out of common sense, know. And I'm also raised up in the South, so I call people sir and ma'am, and I do all of these things out of politeness and gratitude, and being humble. So if I'm at a restaurant and a person approaches me and I'm like, thank you, ma'am, or thank you, sir, and they get offended by that because they don't identify with what I said. Come on now. Yes, let me tell you my own little thing with that. So I go through a drive-through because, you know, my guilty pleasure is eating fast food from time to time, and you should never eat it unless you eat it in moderation. So every drive-through I've ever been through, I order my food, and they're like, "Thank you, ma'am." You know, and then I pull up there looking like this, and they're like, "Was there somebody else in the vehicle?" Yeah, I heard a woman at the drive-through. And I just love it. I think it's great, you know. Like,
it's funny.
Yes, that was me. Yeah, that was that velvety voice.
But you didn't get offended, right?
No, it was funny. I you know, I was like, wow. Do I sound like a woman? Maybe like Kathleen Turner, maybe, you know, maybe in that realm, you know, because the sultry, low tone, you know, I don't know. But if you did call me a ma'am, I'd probably be a little bit confused.
Right.
But not today. Not in today's world.
Well, people in the South are generally just warmer and more respectful and everything. I mean, I remember moving here and going to Walgreens in Nashville, like for the first time. And, you know, the lady behind the counter, "Oh, sweetie, sure, darling, sure, honey," you know, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, that's so funny.
I love it.
It's sweet, you know?
Yeah. It is sweet. And you know, here's the other part about it too. Even up north, like we toured a lot up into New York. You get up in the Adirondacks and get up around those places, man, there's people up there. And we've had this conversation too about California, you know, and NorCal, it's I felt like I was in Kentucky in some places, you know,
pretty conservative up there.
Yeah, and it was beautiful, you know, it's not like any of SoCal. Like that's just two different worlds altogether, you know, like I was blown away at that because of you know, my perception of that is, number one, I'd never really been to NorCal and spent time. I'd been to SoCal quite a bit, and that was my impression of everything in California.
But I mean, I think California is actually red. They keep telling us it's a blue state, but if you look at those numbers from, you know, 2024 and I think even 2020, it's like it's red.
Up.
You know, but you got these dirty politicians that keep stealing the elections, like Gavin Newsom. There's no way that guy actually got legitimately voted in. None of those deep staters in California, they're the worst politicians in the whole country. They're bad news, and they just keep stealing elections, just like when they tried to do that recall and Larry Elder, you know, he clearly just... he got all the votes, but they somehow did this whole bait and switch thing again. And they kept that Newsom in there, and it's just amazing to me that people think he'd make a good president. It's like, have you even seen his track history and what he's done to California?
I don't believe in all the mail-out ballots. I believe we should have still had in-person balloting, and I have a feeling that there is going to be cheating again.
Speaking to reporters after voting for himself in Los Angeles County, Larry Elder raised the baseless possibility that there could be shenanigans, as it were in the 2020 election. On his campaign website, a link to report election incidents, suggesting the results need to be investigated, despite there being one yet.
I mean, what's really going on there? But, you know, the media can lie about anything, really. Facts. I mean,
it's like, at the end of the day, I'm in strong belief, and you can elaborate on this, is it all goes into that central casting with entertainment being at the top of everything, right?
Yeah.
And the programming. So, like, they even do artists that way. They'll put an artist out and generate AI fans and make it look like they've got this huge following when they don't.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there wondering, like, this music's crap.
Yeah.
Like, it is garbage.
Yeah.
How is this anything?
They did the same thing with Kamala Harris. Remember they put all those audience members at her so-called crowded rallies and stuff?
Yes.
It's all lies and, smokescreen, bait and switch stuff. They can create a popularity basically through AI and all these other tools they've got. But I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's hard to differentiate when they bend the perception, you know.
Yeah,
and they try to bring they control your perception.
Yeah.
So like that is so powerful. Mm-hmm. It's so powerful because we were talking earlier, about the propaganda train, and it just what do you believe? Because we're living, it's getting harder and harder to even differentiate AI now.
Yeah.
Like and just in the past 6 months, like in the past, and I've been seeing these clips of happy little tree guy. What's his name? Bob Ross. Yeah, thanks, Mac.
Ross.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
So
TikTok.
TikTok.
The afro.
Oh, I've been reposting it because it's so hilarious. So they've been doing Mr. Rogers too.
Yeah.
So and the AI is getting so good. It's getting so good because it'll be him on a show. I'm gonna put a happy little tree.
Man, you're making those clouds look too easy, Bob. Just let them float, my friend. Clouds like to go where they please. True that. You ever try painting these? These nuts. Oh man, you got me.
And then this cat comes in and knocks his painting over, and he's like, "MFer, you get out of here! You haven't got." And then
it's all AI.
Yeah, it's all AI, and it looks so real and sounds just like him. And then Mr. Rogers and Tupac together.
Nuh-uh.
Oh yeah, and Mr. Rogers is telling him about how he should go it big, B-I-G, and like he's like, "You really got to go at him, neighbor."
No.
It's crazy.
It's that.
So that being in that level, it's man, they can just force feed us whatever they want to force feed us.
And confuse the heck out of us in the process.
Yeah. Who's alive, who's dead?
What a great way to move people around in the direction you want them to go. Just confuse the heck out of them,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just like Project Bluebeam, which I thought we were going to have that when we were having all those drone sightings.
Yeah. That's probably one of those cards they're waiting to play, just like the Epstein thing. I think they're just holding on to that card and just going to play it right at the perfect moment,
Do you think that they're going to do Jesus's return like that?
Probably.
Really?
I mean, think about it, because he's supposed to come through the clouds, right?
Yeah.
How easy would it be for them to project some CGI thing up in the sky, That's why I'm like, I'm going to have to see some real miracles right in front of me before I'm going to believe that the Messiah has returned.
Yeah.
Because the way the technology that these evil forces have is just... Plus, it's it's the end of the end times, right?
Yeah.
So we're supposed to see all this Antichrist behavior in people right now anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's... Hopefully when he does come back, we'll know it. And it won't be a mystery.
Man, it's not, it says in the Bible, we'll never know when that's going to happen, right? But
even he doesn't know.
Right. And so, I mean, I think that it's not from shortage of stuff that's going on right now in the world. I can tell you that, because everything is, and what I understand is aligning so much with Revelation that it's just, and I've heard that my whole life, right?
Yeah.
But I'm living in that time now where it's even more clear than it's ever been.
Yeah.
And all I know is, when Jesus does come back, I'm going home with him.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that.
The perception of truth.